Hi, Opens folks. It's Monday, June 17th, and I'm Erin Wong, and I have never recorded using just YouTube before, but I've returned my iPad to the school, and as you can see, my office is getting more empty, and that's tough for me, but I did feel like I really wanted to make sure I did some recording this week, as I'm a guidance counselor and tough topics are my thing. This is what I do. So I want to say a big thank you to Susan and Joe and Ben for getting us started and talking about the concepts that we've talked about so far this week. When I was thinking about what to do for this, I actually was reminded of the phrase behavior is language, which is something that I was told a long time ago impact parents and children together. It was a parenting course that I joined when Artem was born because I wanted to be the perfect parent and I didn't know what to do with my kids. So it was great because I would have parenting classes one week and then watch the kids the second week, and the other half of the parents would go up. And it was great because I was able to see kids at different developmental stages. But this phrase, behavior is language, makes sense when you have a 1-year-old who can't speak yet, when you have a 3-year-old who's having a tantrum, when you have a 5-year-old who's scared to walk through the door, and when you have a 16-year-old who suddenly quits hanging out with friends and her family. So one of the things that I do as part of my job is, it's not very often where I have a kid just walk up to me and say, "Hi, Miss Luong, this is the problem, this is what's going on," and I have to be a little bit of a private investigator to find out if tough things are happening in a kid's life. And I often talk to my students during the beginning of the year orientation, and I say to them, you know, your friends are most natural around you. You're my barometer. You're the people in the school that can help me out. So if you notice that a friend is changing behaviors, or if you notice something about a friend that worries you, it's a good idea to ask for support and help, and that's why we have guidance counselors. I also like to say that to my staff, because sometimes kids start doing something a little bit differently, or they're just something's not right, and the teacher knows something's wrong, but they can't really put their finger on it. And it's okay to go up to your guidance counselor and say, "I'm worried about this student, I'm not quite sure what's going on. Would you mind checking this out?" I'm super lucky because I have an amazing staff who loves to work with me, and sometimes, you know, in the past, an art teacher's come up to me and said, "Hey, here's a project that one of my students was working on. It's sending out some red flags for me. Do you mind checking in with the student?" Or sometimes I have, you know, an English teacher or a social teacher who's sort of like, "Wow, this poem or this essay or this story was really raw. Do you mind checking in with the kids and see how things are going?" And it doesn't always mean that something's necessarily wrong. But sometimes we're scared to say things because we're worried about offending kids. But I can remember an instance where I asked a girl to come in, and we talked about her very emotional piece of writing, and then at the end she said, "You know, Miss Long, I'm totally not suicidal, but I really, thanks for calling me in, even though it wasn't, you know, needed. Like, it's nice to know that people out there are paying attention and people out there care about me." And I really took that to heart, because I think that when done appropriately, we can ask kids about things without threatening them or making them feel as though they're on the stand. I tend to get tons and tons of referrals from my music teachers, drama teachers, and art teachers, and I think part of the reason why these teachers often learn about these tough topics is that when kids are given environments to express themselves and be creative and move beyond the box and the boundaries, sometimes they can get themselves into situations where they're feeling vulnerable and they're able to put themselves out there. And I find that referrals from teachers that kids really, really love are helpful, because if the teacher comes and says, this is a safe adult and someone I know you'd be okay working with, that already starts the trust for me with that student at a different level than where they would be at before. And then when I do work with kids, it's not like a look me in the eyes and tell me what is wrong with you kind of conversation. We often will, talk about a TV episode, or we'll do art or poetry or create a music video, or find a song that's meaningful, or finding ways where I can watch the student's behavior, because that is language. I've had awesome referrals from teachers and students where I've been able to help kids come to terms with self-harm, eating disorders, depression, anxiety, psychosis, and other mental health disorders, violence, healthy relationships, domestic violence, poverty. Oftentimes, kids can put on a mask that I may not see, but the people closest to them, their friends and teachers, will do a referral, and then we build that safe space where they can tell me sort of what's going on. So, as a reminder, behavior is language. If something's getting you in your gut, feel free to ask your counselor to check it out.